Hi, I'm Tom Hine and I'm a consultant partner at Kemp IT Law. Now this is the third in a series of talks on something called DORA, the EU Digital Operational Resilience Act. As I explained in my earlier talks, DORA hits us in January next year and it's going to have a really big impact on the EU financial sector. Firms are going to have to do a lot of work overhauling things like incident management, testing, reporting, governance and so on, and they're going to have to repaper their contracts with suppliers. Today I'm going to go into a bit more detail on what exactly the obligations are which DORA imposes on firms. So firstly, DORA will involve some thinking around governance. So for example, financial services firms will need an internal governance and control framework for managing IT risk. The board will have ultimate responsibility for IT risk, but the board will need to ensure that the roles and responsibilities beneath it are very clearly set out. That will mean very clear delegations of authority and remits of responsibility within the organisation. Secondly, firms will need to review their list of internal policies and procedures to make sure that they have all of the DORA items covered. Most of these policies will be IT related, things like systems access, change management, business continuity and so on. Firms will have lots of these already, but they'll all need to be checked to make sure that they comply with the specific and quite prescriptive requirements of DORA. And then firms will need to review their incident management arrangements and make sure that they comply with the DORA reporting requirements in the event of an incident. There are also requirements for testing, including threat-led penetration testing for larger firms. So DORA will have a very big impact for IT suppliers who supply to the financial services industry. The requirements on financial firms will mean that they will be making big demands of IT suppliers. And it'll be really worth IT suppliers understanding the DORA requirements, not least to be aware of whether a particular ask of a regulated customer is actually mandated by DORA or not. Now, make no mistake, DORA will mean big changes to IT contracts. In addition, very large, systemically important IT firms, which may be deemed to be critical, which will mean that they will actually be EU regulated for the first time. There are a series of criteria which the regulators will use to determine criticality. And I would suggest big IT firms should be measuring themselves against those criteria and starting to think about whether there's a risk that they may be deemed critical. If they are, this could have very significant impacts, not just for that particular company, but for the entire IT company group. As always, if you need any help making sense of this, please do reach out. Also, we'll be holding a seminar on DORA on the 25th of September when we'll go into all of this in more detail. And do watch out for my other DORA vlogs. Thanks very much for listening and see you next time.